I gotta admit, I didn't see Irie as this, like, deranged human being. I thought he was kind of a nice guy. But I guess, you know, that's sort of what he was trying to put on to, so other people would see him that way. Which, to be honest, is a little bit scary. So we have our live specimen for research, I think, right? And the tragedy at the damn construction site, so I think we can move on? Maybe? Yeah. I was half asleep, so I didn't even hear the phone ringing nearby. After a while, I finally realized the phone was ringing. And a ringing phone means there's some kind of an emergency. It's 2 in the morning. Who would even call me at this time of night?
もしもし。
もしもー。
入江です。
お休みのところ申し訳ございませんわ。入江所長。
It's Takano-san. She's never called me for a personal reason. At the Institute, she's ranked just below me, so she's basically responsible for running it. So for her to call me this late at night, it must be an emergency.
遅くなりました。末期患者が出たというのは本当ですか？
ええ、生きた検体が欲しいと思っていたら本当に運よく。
I initially thought that she'd abducted someone. Well, that was a familiar view. The man had already been moved to the research area in the clinic's basement. Oh, so we do have a cool murder torture basement. Having been tied down to the examination table, he's struggling against his restraints. But it's more as though he's deranged than actually resisting. I can't even understand what he's saying. He sounds angry, sorrowful, and like a child throwing a tantrum all at once. It's obvious that he's not in the right state of mind.
とにかく麻酔で
And
眠
we're
ら
not
せ
going
ま
to
しょう。
help him, to be honest.
このままでは自分の舌を飲み込んで窒息しかねません。
もう少し状態を観察したかったのですけれど、仕方ありませんわね。
One of the staff with a white gown got the anesthesia ready. Even a normal person would struggle to escape a restraining table in this suspicious room. But this man's behavior is at an abnormal level. I'm sure Okonagi-san and his friends from the Mountain Dogs are the ones who captured him. Capturing a man in this state of mind couldn't have been an easy task. According to Takano, she ran into this patient on her way home from the clinic by accident. She brought him back here, tested him, and the result came back positive. Of course, I have no intention of just believing what she's telling me. But there's no question that this man is at the terminal stage, and a live specimen is what we need to research the syndrome.
一体この男
I
は
don't
何
know,
者で
just
す？
some homeless dude.
あの男が持っていた新聞の包み、中に何が入っていたと思います？
これは何です？
There's something wrapped in a bloody newspaper on a tray nearby. Looking at the blood-drenched paper, I can only imagine there's something gruesome inside of it. Yet Takano-san looked like she wanted to surprise me with something interesting.
これは
Isn't it great?
ひどい。
It's a bloody right arm. The man on the table still has his. This right arm doesn't belong to him. So who does it belong to? I'm used to looking at things like this as a doctor. But the horrible cross-section makes me want to look away. It wasn't done according to a medically acceptable method, that's for sure. It was obviously done out of cruelty.
状況から考えて、この男が切り取ったものと考えていいでしょうね。
つまり彼は近隣で起こった何らかの事件の犯人ということですね。
At that point, there was no way of knowing who the right arm belonged to. But the next morning, the dismemberment murder of the damn construction site director was reported. And they mentioned that his right arm was still missing. So we learned who the arm belonged to.
この男前科者だそうで、しかもその上執行猶予期間中だとか。にもかかわらずまた罪を犯してしまうなんて。それで殺人の発覚を恐れて遺体を隠そうと思ったのでしょうね。
状況にもよるでしょうが、懲役数年で済むというものではなさそうですね。
入江所長もこんな社会のクズが相手なら解剖に躊躇はない。
Yeah, he's okay. I don't know him.
社会のクズがさらに犯罪を重ね、さらにその上ひなみ沢症候群で凶暴化したのか、それとも前科を食いる善良な小市民がひなみ沢症候群で凶暴化して罪を犯したのか、どちらかは分かりません。前者ならともかく、後者ならば彼には何の罪もありませんよ。
That's why Hinamizawa syndrome is so terrifying. We can't tell if the syndrome is the cause of the crime, or if it's simply a problem of a human nature. But what causes a defect of human nature in the first place? That was precisely Aria's area of research. Hate the crime, not the criminal. Can criminals only be corrected by punishing them with imprisonment? If a person commits a crime because of a mental disorder, but then gets treatment, he's corrected. In other words, there are no crimes in this world, only patients awaiting treatment without anyone else being able to understand them. In medieval times, patients with mental disorders were said to be possessed by demons, and they were either confined or killed. Centuries after, they were finally acknowledged as mentally ill people who needed treatment. Perception can change with time. Even if they're called criminals now, maybe after several centuries, these criminals will be acknowledged as patients who are entitled to appropriate treatment. Explaining crimes through illness instead of malice. That's my life's work. Hinamizawa syndrome is a strange disease that can support my theory. Solving its mysteries is extremely important to me. To solve those mysteries, I need a medical sacrifice. It's an extremely sinful thing to do, but there's no way to unravel this without it. The Area Institute was authorized to take such drastic measures, if necessary. That's why I was asked about it so many times when I accepted the position of director. And finally, the opportunity is here. This will be the first step of our research on this strange disease. But even now, I'm a little hesitant. I've opened up human bodies in many surgeries. What I'll be doing on this man is something very similar. But there's also something that's very different. What I did before was part of treatment. I did it to save the patients' lives. I did it so the patients could have a better future. But what I'm trying to do here isn't treatment. He will die at the end of it. His death will be far from humane. I'm going to violate nature and force him to stay alive while I open up his living brain.
入江所長、聞いてらっしゃいます？
ああ、すみません。もう一度お願いします。
Sorry, I was having a crisis in my head again.
解剖計画書を提出し、東京に応援を要請した方が良いかと思います。何しろ、単に生きてるだけでなく、末期症状を起こしている大変貴重な検体ですもの。慎重な解剖が求められますわね。
そうですね。おっしゃる通りです。そのようにしましょう。
それまでに数日の猶予があると思います。そこで麻酔を解いていくつかの反応実験をしてみたいのですが。
危険ではありませんか？たとえ拘束を解かなくても何が起こるか分かりませんよ。
ようやく手に入った検体なんですもの。ただ脳を覗くだけじゃもったいないですわ。
We got this torture basement built, we gotta use it. Takano-san's unusual cheerfulness made me feel odd. Maybe her reaction is normal. Maybe I am the one who's not reacting normally in this situation. I'm here only for the research, so I should be excited to have the opportunity to perform our first live dissection. But I'm still hesitant. How can I call myself a researcher? Researchers of the past were brave enough to cross the line, and that's how they accomplished many things. I've seen many brains. I've operated on them. I've lost some patients too. But I never thought anything of it because I knew I did the right thing, even when my hard work was denied afterward. If it pained me to think of that, then I just needed to advance the field of medicine to ensure that their deaths weren't wasted. That's the true form of those advancing the field of medicine. Yet, why was my heart tormented so much just by changing the name from treatment to dissection? Does it mean I'm not man enough to emulate those great men of the past who opened the doors to new medicine? That I don't have the power to develop new advances myself?
あら、どうなさいましたの所長。お休みのところを無理に起こしてしまったので、ご気分が優れませんのかしら？
Takano is pretending to be concerned about me, but she knows. She knows I'm still hesitating. And she's telling me that I should be ashamed, as a researcher, for feeling that way. I shook my head to clear it of sleepiness. Remember the resolve that brought me here to this day. I already have blood on my hands. But if I stop now, their lives will be wasted. Those who shed their blood can only rest in peace once they've become the cornerstones of great research. I shook my head once more and reminded myself that I'm a researcher.
いえ、考え事をしていただけです。高野さんは東京との調整をお願いいたします。日程が決まりましたら教えてください。
ええ、了解いたしましたわ。眠気も吹っ飛んでしまいますわね。
The least I can do is my best, so his life won't be wasted. If he bleeds, I can't waste even a drop of his blood. After scolding my staff for their indiscretion of discussing the dissection with such excitement, I returned to my office. Oh boy, it's murder time. We're starting to get a good bit into it now. Is this it? Is this the decision? This might not be... No, this isn't the decision. It's probably a decision on Satoko rather than decision on random dude that might be one of the guys working at the dam project. I think we might be able to do this one. I think we've got our detailed test results. Yeah, okay, cool. A group of boys are playing... This is like it's a completely different atmosphere. A group of boys are playing baseball under the powerful sun. The sound of cicadas makes the heat stand out even more. But to those boys, it's just another kind of cheering from the crowds. Of course, they go through training exercises to build stamina. But the boys don't actually like such routine activities. What they look forward to most is the free game after practice. School in Hinamizawa is actually borrowed from the forestry service. The schoolyard is made of gravel, so it's not very appropriate for playing sports on. Compared to that, the grounds of the school in Okinamiya are properly maintained for athletic activities, so the kids grow even more energetic when they come here. Kids from Hinamizawa don't really care if the ground is made of gravel or not. The other instructor is watching the game, so I decided to go get some drinks for the team.
監督、どこへ行くんですか？
皆さんにジュースを買ってこようと思いまして。もしよかったら、サトシ君も手伝ってくださる
Everyone's
と
got to find a good
とて
habit in
も助かる
between
のですが。
casually dissecting villagers.
はい。
His habit just happens to be teaching kids how to play baseball. You know, everyone's a little bit different.
お手伝いします。
Satoshi-kun decided to come along with me. Sometimes kids don't like what grown-ups choose, so I'm glad he agreed to help. Satoshi-kun and I got in the car and headed to the grocery store nearby.
監督、聡子の具合はどうなんですか？
ええ、経過は良好ですよ。本当にゆっくりとですが、聡子ちゃんの心の傷も癒えてきています。もう少しだけ安静にしてあげた方がいいでしょう。
It's natural for Satoshi-kun to be worried. Satoko-chan has been in the hospital for over 2 weeks. Of course, he doesn't know his sister's Hinamizawa syndrome. Not only that, she's almost at level 5. She could become deranged at any moment. He believes she's depressed because of the shock of their parents' accident. He came to the clinic every day to cheer his sister up. But Satoko-chan has become emotionally unstable and was showing some dangerous symptoms, so we called off the visits. In fact, Satoko-chan is not doing so well. Level 5, the stage Satoko-chan is at, is a very abnormal one. The man from last year who was at the same stage was acting so abnormal that even a drug addict in his final stage would have turned and ran. There's no guarantee Satoko-chan won't fall into the same condition. When we performed the autopsy on that man last year, we learned the true identity of the syndrome and gained a great understanding of its mechanisms. We even discovered some important facts that may lead to the development of a cure. Actually, was that thing we just saw with them finding the guy with the arm? That was last year, like compared to this time. That wasn't like happening at the same time. I'm kind of thinking of most of these things happening sort of chronologically, but they're actually not happening chronologically. So when he refers to the guy that they dissected last year, it was that one, I believe. However, we have yet to find a method of actually curing the disease. So if Satoko-chan becomes unrecoverable, we may have to dissect her, just like we did the man from last year. How can I tell Satoshi-kun about his sister's situations? All I can do is make vague comments and lie to him that she's recovering. What if she becomes much worse? That would make me an unforgivable liar. The tiny bit of conscience that remains in me hurts.
もし監督の診療所のご迷惑でなければ、もうしばらく入院させてもらった方がいいかもしれません。
それはどういう意味ですか？
I thought he wanted her to come home as soon as possible, so I'm a little surprised.
いえ、実は聡子、あまりおばさん一家とも馴染めていないんです。
聡子ちゃんがご両親とあまり良い関係ではなかったと聞いていましたが、新しく預けられたおばさん夫婦ともなのですか？
聡子は大人にはあまり心を開かないので。
Satoshi-kun has told me about their family background. Their mother's constant remarriages wounded her children deeply. Satoshi-kun was able to overcome it, but Satoko-chan was too young to be able to do that. That left her traumatized, and she now has the tendency to distrust or dislike guardians who aren't related to her. Actually, nobody would like a guardian who isn't related to them. It's not just Satoko-chan, but usually people try to deal with that even if they don't like it. I guess Satoko-chan's not capable of that.
おじさんはあまり家に帰ってこないし、いても寝てるかテレビを見てるかなのでそんなに問題はないんですが、おばさんがものすごく聡子に絡むんです。
どうしてそんなに嫌われてしまったんでしょうね。
I can guess why. Satoko-chan's parents were dam proponents, and because of that, the villagers considered the aunt and uncle part of the Hojo family and ostracized them as such. Moreover, they passed away suddenly in an accident and left 2 children behind. So I guess there would be more hate there than gratitude. Excuse me. If she had been obedient like Satoshi-kun, everything would have been fine. Satoko-chan can't be that way. She shows that in her attitude and expressions, which leads to her and her aunt having a big fight.
僕もおばさんに聡子の事情を説明してはいるのですが、なかなか分かってもらえなくて。
その度に聡子ちゃんをかばってあげるサトシ君はお兄さんの鏡だと思いますよ。今や聡子ちゃんにとって唯一の肉親はサトシ君だけなのかもしれませんからね。
そうですね。そんな気がしてます。
Satoshi-kun said with a slight hint of a sigh. He doesn't say it, but it seems Satoshi-kun has grown tired of having to cover for Satoko-chan every time she and her aunt fight. He's a good person, as well as a good big brother. So I'm sure he'll do anything to cover for his sister. That's a very exhausting thing to keep doing forever. Satoshi-kun was already doing that when their parents were alive. And eventually, his mental equilibrium couldn't handle the strain. He grew sick and he visited my clinic. I thought his circumstances might have improved after their initial cause. His parents were gone. But it seems things were even worse than before.
わかりました。そんな状況で聡子ちゃんを退院させたらまた心の症状がぶり返してしまうかもしれませんね。入院費のことは気にしないでください。聡子ちゃんが本当の意味で回復するまで
Oh no, Irie,
私
you
が責
can't
任を持っ
say
てお預か
that.
りします。
While trying to pretend I'm listening to his request, I feel a little disgusted at myself for making such selfish excuses. I'll make sure. Takano-san is working on her dissection plan as we speak.
お願いできると僕も少しだけ助かります。
はい？
いえ、聡子がもうしばらく入院しててくれたら僕もその分気が楽だなって思っただけです。
それはどういう意味ですか？
聡子が帰ってきたらどうせまたおばと喧嘩をするだろうと思います。そうしたらまた喧嘩や怒鳴り声ばかりの日になって僕もそれに巻き込まれるのかなって思うと、聡子はずっと入院しててくれるのが
Ouch.
一番僕にとって気楽なことなんじゃないかって
That hurts a little.
そう思ってしまう自分がいて
Like, you know, if she just never got unhospitalized.
嫌になります。
サトシ君。
Satoshi-kun is a great big brother who always sticks up for his little sister. But that doesn't mean he doesn't feel burdened.
そんなことを考えてしまうなんて僕はなんて悪い兄なんだろうって思います。そうだと思えば思うほど自分が嫌になって。
Satoshi-kun said, sniffling once. His expression was one of anguish, as if truly feeling his own sin. His desire to be a model big brother is putting himself under greater pressure. I feel bad for Satoko-chan, but I also feel bad for Satoshi-kun in a different way. As someone who knows the both of them well, I feel that I must be their ally, since they don't have anyone else who cares about them. Oh, but I'm also a scumbag. Just wanted to remind you. Like, don't think that I'm doing anything good for these kids. Because I'm not. Alright, I mean, you could see we've gotten through a decent chunk of these already. I think I'm going to stop here. You know, I'm trying not to hurt my throat too much. And I think this is a good spot where I'm okay, but if I go too much longer, I can tell it's going to start hurting. Let me see where we're going to go next, though. It'll be a while, but maybe I can reference this if I need to. I don't know if the priest ever contacted the Institute yet. We might be able to do this one, because I think Satoshi's not allowed to visit his sister at the clinic. Since her responsibility as a big brother is required, maybe? I don't know. I don't know, honestly. From this point, I might have to just try some stuff and see if I can figure it out. Anyway, that's good enough for now. But, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, we'll be back in about a week. Just taking a little vacation. I haven't really been on this is like the first time I've been on an actual week-long vacation in a long time. Like, since I was, you know, a child, basically. And, you know, the first any vacation I've taken in like a year, so just definitely excited about that. But I'll bring my laptop with me, but I won't really record anything. Kind of hard to record stuff in a hotel room, you know? Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed, though. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time for some more Higurashi. Bye!